Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patriots Real-Time Podcast. I'm your host, Theodes Nose. Today we are back with another offseason show. Today we are doing a solo show breaking down the Patriots free agency signings, and then we will be doing a 7-round mock draft on the pod. So it's not I haven't done this mock draft already, which I know a lot of people like to do, but I want to do it on the pod because I don't have a definitive who I want the Patriots to take in every spot. And obviously, when you're not picking in the top 5 or even the top 10, you can't really do that. You don't know who's going to fall to you. But last year we knew Will Campbell was going to be the pick pretty much from, I would say, this point until the draft. We knew Will Campbell was probably going to be the pick because the Patriots liked him so much. Vrabel talked about how Campbell took him out to dinner, but I'm getting sidetracked. But anyways, so I want to start with free agency just because that was the last thing that happened. And I want to start just off the bat with the first move that the Patriots made. So Draymond Jones. I watched a little of the film on him. He's probably he's probably the guy that I watched the least amount of film on. But the day he signed, I watched some of his pressures and I watched some of his, just one of his games. But I think he is an okay player. 51 pressures in 2025, which is solid. I think Chason had like 70. I could be wrong. But he's a guy that is a bigger edge. They had him listed at 280. He said he played at 265. But a guy that I actually don't mind the signing of, right? Is he going to come in and get you 10 sacks? No, he's not. He's not going to be that Max Crosby, that even Trey Hendrickson. I'm struggling. That, that elite edge rusher, so to speak. But he's going to be a guy that's going to be solid for you. He's going to be fine in run defense, and he's going to be a fine pass rusher. I think he had 8 I know he had 8 sacks last year, but I think that was his career high. So once again, he's not going to get to the quarterback a ton, but he's definitely an improvement from anyone they have on the edge. I think he's better than Harold Landry, and I think if Harold Landry can stay healthy, then that's going to be a solid duo. I think you still need to draft someone, and we're going to get into that later, but I really like the signing in a vacuum. But if you look at the overall how the Patriots addressed the edge position, I don't love it. The only 2 players they signed were Draymond Jones and then Jesse Luketa, the guy from Arizona. So to me, I don't love it. I think that you kind of ran it back, minus Anthony Jennings because he was cut, and Caleb Chason as well, who went to the Commanders. But I don't know, not a big fan of the signing as a whole, but in a vacuum, I think it's a good player. You got him for relatively cheap compared to the rest of the edge market. You signed him 40 minutes after free agency start. You see Odafe Oweh go for $103 million. Jalen Phillips, $120. Those guys I don't think are worth those contracts. Good for them getting their bag, but to me, I think that you got Draymond Jones for pretty much what he was worth, and that's a steal in free agency because you have to overpay. All right, let's move off Draymond Jones. I promise I will talk about other guys more than Draymond Jones, but just a little bit there. Have him listed at 6'3", 281 on PFF, which is just not right. He's going to wear number 5, by the way. I'm a big numbers guy. I'm going to tell you the number that they're going to wear because I think it's important. It's not important, but I like it. So let's go with Romeo Doubs, number 87, taking over Gronk's 87. I don't really find problems with this. I should say he's taking over Jack Westover's preseason 87. But let's talk about Romeo Doubs. So I have my notes down here. That's what I'm looking down at, if you're wondering there. So Romeo Doubs, I watched the film. I watched this game against the Bears, and I watched some of his targets. He is a soft zone finder like Stephon Diggs. He'll sit in the soft zones, not to the extent that Diggs does, but he's still good at it. He's not going to be – obviously, he's played in the NFL for 4 years, so he knows the game. He knows how to play receiver at a high level, and Dobbs can find the zones. He's a good route runner. He's a really good route runner. I noticed it, and I'm going to try my best to describe this to you, but today I was watching his targets, and he had this delayed slant where he would – walk up to him, hit him with like a 1-2, and then a slant. And he ran it twice. He may have run it more, but in his targets, he ran it twice for catches for like 5 yards. One was for a touchdown. And then he's on the boundary, lined up with the cornerback, and he hits the same delayed move where he hits like the 1-2. He steps like he's going to hit the slant. The cornerback bites because he watched on film that he did that twice in the last 2 weeks. He goes to the outside, catches a fade for a touchdown. So I really like his route tree. I really like the way he moves off the line of scrimmage like I just talked about. He can get open just off the line of scrimmage because he has such an elite get-off, if that's what you call. I know that's what they say for pass rushers. I don't know if they say that for wide receivers. What else do I have? So he has great hands, very strong hands. I noticed some of the Diggs hands where he's going out there, he's making the catch. It doesn't look like a challenge. He's catching it with his hands. Really like that about Dobbs. He can get open deep. To me, he reminded me of a Booty Plus and a Keyshawn Booty Plus. And some people have done the Jacoby Myers comparisons, and maybe I just haven't watched Jacoby Myers play since 2022, but I don't know. I think he's a Booty Plus a lot more. He can get open, like I said, shorter part of the field, intermediate part of the field, and then deep. He can run those routes, the streak down the left or right sideline like Keyshawn Booty, and he can get open during those routes. And he wins with speed more than power. Booty, we know can win by just bullying the corner because he's very physical, unless it's Josh Jobe. We know how that went. But, so yeah, like him getting open deep. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, that's pretty much all the notes I have on him. One other thing I do want to add is I think people have talked about how his yak ability is not really great. And just from watching the highlights, not even the tape, sort of like the real film, the All-22, you can tell that Jordan Love kind of affected the yak ability, just him not being able to be accurate with the football, throwing it behind Dobbs, just slightly where he runs into a defender versus being able to break upfield. And I think Drake May, who is very accurate, led the league in completion percentage last season, 72%, which is like 6th all-time. So very accurate quarterback, is going to be able to hit him and maybe give Dobbs more of a chance to be a yak receiver. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's prime Juju Smith-Schuster yak machine, but I think he can be better than what he was. I don't know if I can find what his yak was last year. I'm just looking it up on PFF right now, just if that'll help. I probably won't be able to find it, but if I can, that would be cool. But so yeah, I don't think the yards after the catch, that's what yak stands for, it was great last year. Do we think that'll be in premium stats? Give me ADOT. Oh no, probably not. Yeah, here we go. 3 yards after the catch. That's 60th in the NFL. So, like I said, not great, but I think he could definitely be better. He's very fast, like I said earlier. He's probably the second fastest receiver on the Patriots behind Kyle Williams, so that'll be cool. Hopefully you add an A.J. Brown or a guy in the draft to complement him, but I like Romeo Dobbs. All right, let's get to the Kevin Byard signing. I don't have much on Kevin Byard just because I don't really know how to evaluate safeties very well, but he's good. That's all you have to say. Great ball skills. In the 2 interceptions against the Raiders, I want to say, he made nice plays. Maybe against Jalen Hurts it was. I can't remember which interceptions. He had a lot. He led the NFL with 7. He knows the Vrabel defense. He's going to fit right in. He's going to help Craig Woodson. Playmaker, like I mentioned. And he's more of a traditional free safety. And Craig Woodson, I believe, I'm going to look it up right now just to check. I probably should have had this. But I was watching a little Craig Woodson yesterday from the AFC Championship, and I went to his homepage on NFL Pro, which is another website, and it said snaps by alignment, and maybe this is different on PFF, but they had him playing much more free safety than strong safety, and Woodson was more of a hybrid than a traditional free safety versus strong safety. I want to see snaps by alignment. Maybe they don't have it here. They do in premium stats. All right, but while that loads, yeah, so Craig Woodson is going to slide into more of a traditional strong safety role. Here we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, it doesn't matter. Either way. Woodson's going to slide into more of a strong safety role if that's what they want to do. Maybe they'll do another hybrid mix like they did with Hawkins. And we'll see how that goes. You know, like I said, Byard. He is 32 going into his age 33 season, so maybe they slide him more inside, closer to the line of scrimmage, but that's not really where he's accustomed to playing. But if he does lose a step, which is very possible, because like I said, he's 33 years old, we could see that happen. But I do want to talk about Byard versus Hawkins. And you look at some of the Hawkins plays last year, and there were times early in that season against the Raiders, there were times late in the season against the Broncos where he just blew coverage assignments, and he was just not good. And yeah, he was a good player for you for the majority of the year, but he struggled, he made mistakes, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Kevin Byard is never going to make mistakes, because he is. He is, but Kevin Byard is a much better player. Even at 33 years old, you're going to draft a safety. We're going to draft a safety in the PFF mock draft simulator soon. But you have to understand that Jalen Hawkins is a good player. The Patriots were able to upgrade short-term and maybe even long-term because Kevin Byard is going to teach this safety. Maybe that's Emmanuel McNeil-Morin from Toledo. Maybe he's going to teach Zakee Wheatley from Penn State if you want to take a safety in the first round. Maybe he's going to teach them how to play safety. And I can guarantee, as much as we all love Jalen Hawkins, he doesn't know as much about the game of football, about the Mike Vrabel defense, as Kevin Byard. And that's why I think I like the Kevin Byard signing. Also, Craig Woodson, who's played in this Terrell Williams / Zach Core defense for 1 year now, he's going to benefit from a guy like Kevin Byard to also teach him the defense, because Byard's played in it in 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and half of 2023. So, big fan of that. All right, let's get to AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker, the guard that they signed from the New York Jets. So the big thing with Elijah Vera Tucker is, wow, I have a lot of notes on him that are long. But the big thing about Elijah Vera Tucker is that he is injury prone. I believe 3 or 4 season-ending injuries. The 2 torn triceps were, he had the torn tricep last year, had the torn Achilles a few years ago. And I believe that's it. There could be one more thing that I'm forgetting, but this is a guy that gets hurt. But when he's not hurt, he is elite. So we're going to talk about Reggie Gilliam in just a second. But a lot of people were saying, when AVT is not hurt, he is a top 5 guard, top blank guard. Reggie Gilliam, he's not really hurt, but Reggie Gilliam is a top blank fullback. For one of these guys, I said, I agree with that. He's a really good player. And that player is Elijah Vera Tucker. I watched the film, and I was extremely impressed. Watching Jared Wilson play, watching Ben Brown, who wasn't that bad, but he's nowhere close to Elijah Vera Tucker. Elijah Vera Tucker might be the best left guard, right guard, because he played right guard for the Jets, in the NFL when healthy. This guy can pull. This guy can pass protect. This guy can run block. I have never seen an offensive lineman. Granted, I've watched Will Campbell and Jared Wilson primarily in my 3 months of watching film. I have never seen an offensive lineman better than Elijah Vera Tucker. And I know that's a small sample size, but I really like it. Doesn't look lost when he doesn't have an assignment. So some of the things that I saw with Jared Wilson last year is when he didn't have anyone that was directly lined up one-on-one with him and he would have to help out, he would look a little lost. Elijah Vera Tucker didn't see anything from them in 2024 when he last played. He has a really, really strong base. He never gets overpowered often, I should say. Also gives you versatility. He's played tackle, played both tackle spots. He's played both guard spots. He was not good at tackle, I will tell you that. However, he can play if you need him to play tackle. The one thing I do have to comment on Elijah Vera Tucker is that he's not going to get the best push. He's not going to get a Will Campbell level push. And it's different with guards and tackle, right? Because tackles are going up against smaller edge rushers. Not necessarily smaller, but they're going up against edge rushers who are smaller than defensive tackles. So that's why they get better push and run blocking situations. But doesn't get phenomenal push in the run game. Still a really good player. Though, and then I'm just going to read one of my notes that I have. Stays engaged and does not let the defensive tackle bounce off of him for the tackle. So that's obviously in run blocking. He was able to stay engaged with the defensive tackle. And as the running back ran by, I actually remember this play. I watched this a long time ago, but not a long time ago. It was last week. I remember he was able to stay engaged. The guy tried to bounce off him, didn't let him, didn't hold him either. So a really nice play by him. But, yeah, he's not good at tackle. Just reading some of the notes I have. I remember he's a bad pass blocker. He's fine at run blocking. Tackles are fine at run. Most guards move to tackle are pretty good run blockers, but because virtually the same. It's not the same completely, but it is virtually the same. And a lot of people will ask, why can't this guy play tackle? And why can't this guy move this here and from guard to tackle and this and that? And it's just the run blocking is going to be the same, but the pass blocking is super different. Sometimes you line up in a 3-point stance when you're a tackle, and sometimes you'll line up virtually standing up. So Depends on who you are. You're not lining up like standing up, but you're lining up standing up. I don't know. More than when you play guard. All right, let's move to Reggie Gilliam. Not impressed by the film. A lot of people will tell you he's the best fullback in the league. And maybe I just haven't watched other full. I will tell you this. He is so much better than Jack Westover. So you're getting an improvement. However, I thought he over-pursued blocks. He ran by guys at times. Didn't think he's not going to overpower everyone because he's not that big. But I also was kind of surprised he didn't play much on offense. The most snaps he had in a game was 25 last season. But I watched the game against the Eagles when it was the rain game or the snow game or whatever that was. He played like 4 or 5 offensive snaps actually. So he wasn't playing the most. He would line up as your Y tight end more than in the I formation, and if he wasn't lined up at the Y tight end spot, he was in the backfield but off to the right, which kind of surprised me a little bit. But this is a guy that I'm not going to say, I know I said like he's not the best fullback in the league, but he's still a good fullback. Let's see, I'm just trying to, he lined up in the slot one time. I saw that and I had to say something about it because you don't see fullbacks line up in the slot. He only had 2 catches last year, but one of them was a really good catch and he showed good hands, so maybe you can incorporate that a little bit. He had 2 carries, he didn't really do much, so I know I was begging for a guy that can overpower people. The Patriots did not get that, but they did improve their running game with Gilliam, Elijah Vera-Tucker, and then Julian Hill, who I will talk about later. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have. He was the primary tush pusher for Josh Allen. He's really good on special teams, which is an added bonus. Westover was not a great special teamer. I don't even know if he played. He definitely did, but he wasn't. He plays on everything. He plays on extra points, field goals, punts, and kickoffs. So that's it for that. I'm going to get to our last 2 guys, the 2 Miami guys. So KJ Britt and Julian Hill. KJ Britt, these are the guys I actually did the most work on just because not a lot known about them. KJ Britt we'll start with. I actually didn't hate KJ Britt watching the film. As a guy that's just going to be a rotational linebacker, I thought he was going to be worse than, the name is escaping me, Jack Gibbons. But he's actually not. He's pretty good against the run. He makes tackles when he's in. He didn't play much. He played against backups primarily. He only played 1 game where he played like 60 snaps. But he's a solid backup. He's not going to play too much, but plays with some violence. Loves to hit. Signed him, I believe, to a 1-year deal. He's a sure tackler. He won't miss a tackle in open field. He's not a good... he doesn't play well against the pass, but that's not really what Jack Gibbons did either last year. So I think he's just a de facto Jack Gibbons replacement that hits harder. Like, that's all I can tell you. He's a good tackler. He might be an upgrade. I'm not even going to lie. Jack Gibbons was great for the Patriots last year. KJ Britt might be an upgrade. All right, let's get to the last signing here. I'm getting a little winded. Haven't done a solo podcast in a little bit, but let's get to the last Julian Hill, the last guy after. Take a sip of orange juice here. All right, Julian Hill. So I watched him block. He had 15 routes run targets last year. He's not a pass catcher. He can catch the ball. He has strong hands. Apparently, he had a lot of penalties. The game that I watched was against the Patriots. He got great push against linebackers and cornerbacks. He's a really, really good pass blocker. No, he's a really good run blocker. And I was actually surprised. He might be better at run blocking than Charlie Kolar. And Charlie Kolar was my guy. I love Charlie Kolar. I still love Charlie Kolar, even though he never played for the Patriots in his life. Went to the Chargers on a 3-year deal, I believe. And that's the same deal that, Kolar got more money, but it's the same length that Julian Hill is getting. And so, yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm actually a really big fan. This might be one of my favorite signings that the Patriots had. I think Elijah Vera-Tucker is my favorite, but this is a really, really good signing. He had reps against defensive tackles where he won the rep and overpowered them, and I was very shocked to see that just because it's a tight end. And Charlie Kolar struggled against elite edge rushers, and granted, it's elite edge rushers. Everyone struggles against it. I said that to Callahan, and he said the same thing. But, like, I didn't see Julian Hill go up against an elite edge rusher because the Patriots don't have one, or didn't last year, but he didn't really lose many reps in the full game of work. He dominated Jelani Sabai. He plays with great effort. He knows how to use his body really well. So, yeah, I really, really like the signing. And, yeah, so doesn't lose bad when he does, so big fan of signing. All right, we're 20 minutes in. We talked 20 minutes about the free agents. Let's jump into this mock draft. I'll tell you the settings in a minute. So I don't know the board great, but I do know the board well enough. Today is March 22nd. I'm going to go with the consensus 319 big board just because that seems better. Care for positional value, I'm going to move it up a little bit. Draft for needs, I think that is a big thing. And then randomness, I don't like randomness. I like it to be what we want. We're going to pick the Patriots at 31, 7-round mock draft on turbo, so there's going to be no trades. Maybe there will be. I don't know. All right, let's get into it. So we went turbo. So here we are. All right, we're at 31. There's a run of receivers. Kansas City just took Denzel Boston, and then Miami took Casey Concepcion. Caleb Banks went before that. C.J. Allen. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren does not make it. He goes at pick 25. On the board, we got Blake Miller, Cassius Howell, Omar Cooper Jr. That's not really realistic, so I'm not going to take him just for the sake of the mock draft. Max Ianetcher, the tackle from, I'm going to put this right in front of me so I don't have to look off to the side, but Max Ianetcher from Arizona State. This is a guy that just started playing football, I believe, in high school. He's from Nigeria. So I do like him. A little raw, but I'm a fan. He's played only right tackle in his life, or for Arizona. Okay, you also got Zion Young on the board, a good edge rusher. Has struggled with some off-the-field stuff. If we pick him, we'll talk more about that. Anthony Hill, the linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez. So now we're getting a little deep. So Omar Cooper and Kaden McDonald are the top two. I'm not going to take them. I'm not going to take Omar Cooper because I don't think it's realistic. But I'm not going to take Kaden McDonald either, just because he's not a position needed. I'm going to go ahead. Cassius Howell's on the board. See, that's a good player right there. Do you take Blake Miller or Cassius Howell? Cassius Howell obviously has the arm length things. How many sacks did he have last year? 27 hurries, 2 hits, 12 sacks last year. Man, I don't know. Traditional stand-up edge rusher. I might go Cassius Howell. I think that's a good pick. Blake Miller, great player. Probably not going to be there when the Patriots pick. I'm going to go Cassius Howell. Really like the player. If he falls, I would take him. All right, we move 263. Immediately seeing Keontae Scott, not a big need, but he's a really good player for Miami. Looking at a lot of cornerbacks, you got Mike Washington, one of the best running backs in this draft. Danny Denai Sutton, we already took our edge rusher. I'm not loving where we're at right now. I might trade back. If you want to know who just went, Gabe Yakas, the edge rusher from Illinois. AJ Halsey, the safety from LSU. Derek Moore, who I really like. I wish he went here. Malachi Fields to the Rams. And then to the Broncos, Josiah Trotter, right? One pick before us. All right, so here, I think I'm going to trade back. I'm going to look for a Max Clare. And maybe it's realistic to go Max Clare here. Kamari Ramsey. 76. All right, so 27 people want this pick. Let's trade back with... Let's go back to 70 with the Browns. So 70, 63. And then they give me maybe a 4th. All right, this trade will likely be accepted. And maybe they'll give me a 6 next year. All right. They accept the trade. We're going to move back. All right. A lot of guys went here. Max Clare still on the board. I think we have to take him. I like Max Clare. He's a really good player. I'll look at the stats real quick. Let's just look at how tall he is. He's big. He's 6'5", 243. I believe he can block decently well. He had looks like PFF grades had him down in 2025, but I don't think so. Obviously, tight ends are not going to get receiving yards. He had a combined 1,000 yards the last 2 seasons. But 448 this year, 55 targets, 43 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Don't hate it. Love Max Clare as a prospect. I'll take him. I like Oscar Delp more, but he's more of a late round pick. All right, so far we got... Who did we take in the first round? We took Cassius Howell and then Max Clare in the second round. All right, so we're up at 95. This is where it starts to get a little harder. I love Michael Trigg. I should have waited out for Michael Trigg. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Bryce Lance, a guy that I haven't got to watch a lot this year, went to NDSU, North Dakota State. But I think that's where his brother went too, right? That's where Trey Lance went. Let's look at the size. 6'3", 209. I know he's a really good player. 89 PFF grade, 86 last year. Doesn't mean anything. Over 1,000 yards back-to-back seasons. In 2023, he had 7 yards on 1 reception. But the receptions went down, but the yards went up, which is really good. It's what you want to see. The ADOT was 15.5, which is really, really good. He had 641 deep yards, so it looks like 16 deep threats, which is tied 5th. So I don't know what's his name, Bryce Lance very well as a prospect as we get deeper, but I do know of Bryce Lance, and I do know generally what he's good at. So I'm going to take Bryce Lance. I really like the pick. Bud Clark, though, on the board. Okay. He's another good safety from TCU. I want to look at the size. 6'2", 190. That's a good size for safety. I want to look at his snap alignment. So he's more of a box safety, which is not really with the Patriots. Well, played in the slot too, so he could be a nickel. I don't know. This is probably not very... No, this is what you guys want to see here. 4 interceptions last year. 7 forcing... I don't know. This is a tough pick. See, I'm between Lance and Bud Clark, but do we take Michael Trigg and then double down attack? I like all those players. I think Emmett Johnson and Jake Slaughter, the 2 guys at the top, I don't know who they are, but I want to see. I feel like, what would it be? Let's look at the safeties that will be available next round. Lorenzo Styles, they have that late. That guy's a super athletic player, but not a great player. I think we go, I think we go Bud Clark. I like Bud Clark here. Really good safety. I'm liking the way this draft is going so far. All right, now Nick Singleton is the best player, and then Drew Aller, so we got a pair of Penn Staters. And then another one. Isaiah World, the tackle from Oregon. 6'8", raw, but he's got the talent, or he's got the size. He's got 1 sack last year, which not bad. 5 hits, 12 hurries is not great, but primary left tackle. Played 14 snaps at right tackle. I like it. I like Isaiah World. Not a great run blocker, but it's all right. Pass block, not even worse pass blocker. But I'm going to take Isaiah World, just bet on this talent. Oh, Mark Bell. Mark Bell's also 6'8", 6'9". More of a left tackle. The pass block grade from PFF. I'm not grinding. I don't have access to college film, so I'm just going to go off PFF grades for this and stats. So not the best. Yeah, I'm taking Mark Bell. Traditional left tackle. You hope he can swing. Mark Bell's my guy. You needed a backup tackle for Morgan Moses. I love it. I forgot we had like back-to-back picks. Not really. Harold Perkins Jr. is interesting to me. I've heard a lot of criticism about him, but I've also heard that a lot of people like him. Maybe we traded for this pick. That's why I don't remember. Anyways, he was a stand-up linebacker in 24, I want to say. Yeah. But, oh wait, no. What am I talking about? I'm thinking of someone else. I am totally thinking of someone else. Yeah, no, he was a defensive lineman in not a defense. He's an edge rusher in 2023-ish. Now he's not. Yeah, I'm going to take Harold Perkins. I think he's the best linebacker available. I like it. I'm not taking... Jack Endry's is like intriguing to me. But I want it... If I double down a tight end, I want it to be Delp. Endry's is a good player. He's big. He's a big guy. I don't know. Let's look at the blocking grade, actually. They don't have a blocking grade. Love that. Drop rate 0.0%. You love to see that. I don't know. I'm actually leaning towards Endries. I don't know how athletic he is, though. Yeah, so 900 yards over the last 2 seasons. In his collegiate career, he has over 1,000. 10.5 yards per reception is solid. ADOT is 8.2, which is not great. 3 touchdowns. I'm not going to take him. Let's look at someone else. Oscar Delp. Here do we take Oscar Delp? We haven't taken a receiver yet, but I'm going to take Delp. I love Delp. He's super athletic. Yeah, Delp. Give me Delp. He can block if you need him. Not the best, but he can do it. All right. We're at the 30-minute mark. We're halfway into this draft. Let's keep it rolling. This is where you can get a little bit weird. We're done with tight ends, sadly. I love tight ends in this class. We've taken 2. We can really take anything here besides tight end. Eden Fisher. He's a name I've heard. Missed tackle 16 is high. 2 interceptions last year is good. 80 passer rating around. That doesn't mean anything for linebackers. Passer is great. I don't care about that. I'm going to take a swing on him. I think you need depth at linebacker. Right now, your linebacker depth is looking like... Hold on. Who do we take? It's looking like Harold Perkins, Robert Spillane, KJ Britt, I forgot the name, and Christian Ellis. So I think that you could definitely take Aiden Fisher here and maybe have him come and compete for a spot with Christian Ellis. No, I guess Christian Ellis is the starter. What about Adame Tucker, an edge rusher? You don't have a lot. Whoa. What happened to the guy from Buffalo that I can't think of the name of? He's a good linebacker. He must have already been taken. No, Red Murdoch. So I think we should double up with Red Murdoch later in the draft. I don't mind taking Adame Tucker here. Smaller school, Western Michigan. Don't know much about him. 14 sacks last year is awesome. 6 hits, 41 hurries. I'll take 41 hurries. Wow. I'll take Adame Tucker. Bet on the. Let's look at that. 6'3", 250. That's a big edge rusher. Fit right in. I'll take him. Cassius Howe is more of a smaller guy too, so balances out nicely. All right, we need a receiver, but there's nobody really here. Eli Henderich. That's the guy that we're taking. He's more of a running back. Do we take Lorenzo Styles? And then we say bye-bye to my favorite player, Del Pettis. No, we don't do that. I should probably tell you who I'm looking at. John Michael, no. All right, I'm looking here. I don't know. Do we take Lorenzo Styles? He might be the best player available. Let's look at the receivers and if we would want to trade up for someone or trade down for someone. All right, so we got Eric McAllister. I don't know any of these receivers at this point in the draft. Aaron Anderson and Barry Brown, I actually do know, both from LSU. From John Carroll. I love the John Carroll guy. 1,500. I don't know. See, they have him late here. He would probably already be gone at this point in the 6th round. I might take a shot on him because it's more realistic. I'm going to take him right here. Tyron Montgomery from John Carroll. Give me him. PFF's going to give me an F for that pick. I got another pick right here. Wait, let's just recap the draft real quick. So first round, we went Cassius Howe, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. A really, really good player. Undersized-ish, but he's going to get home. He's a really good player. Max Clary went in the 2nd round. Tight end can block. Another really good player. Bud Clark, the safety in the 3rd round. Big fan of him. He's going to fill in, maybe play a little 3 safety. Looks for the Patriots this year. He is 6'2", 190, so he's not the biggest guy. Mark Bell, he is the biggest guy. He's 6'9". He might be the biggest guy in the draft. 6'9", he's played primarily left tackle in his collegiate career. Harold Perkins, the linebacker from LSU, he's a good player. Oscar Delp, the tight end from Georgia, really athletic. Broken foot right now, but he's going to be okay. Adame Tucker, we don't forget about Adame Tucker, but a smaller school guy that had a really productive season last year for the Western Michigan Broncos. And then we got John Carroll's wide receiver, Tyron Montgomery, who lit up the Senior Bowl. All right. Here's where I think we can take a cornerback. Maybe defensive line depth. Texas A&M's Albert Regis. Good run defender, it looks like. I think I'm just going to take him. Do you need run defense to replace Kairos Tonga? I'm tired. I can't speak anymore. Kairos Tonga, obviously. Playing the B-gap more, so not going to be exactly the nose tackle, but yeah, I'm going to take him. I think you need run defense. Oh my God, we have like back-to-back-to-back picks. Not really, but we've had 3 picks since 191, and we're at 202 right now. We're almost done. I think we need to take a cornerback. There's no good cornerbacks on the board. Linebacker, Red Murdoch. I'm going to go ahead and reach for him. Love Red Murdoch, another smaller school guy. We're going smaller school here. We're going John Carroll. We got Western Michigan. Now we're going to go with Buffalo. Red Murdoch is a great player. I watched the highlights. He's physical. He can hit. And we're back up with another pick. Eli Hendricks is looking at me for the last 5 picks, and he still hasn't been taken. Oh, let's see. Who we got here? Right now, it's time to take some dart throws. And they're not going to give me a good grade for this. But I'm going to take some dart throws. I'm going to take Roman Hemby. This is a guy that's a bigger guy. If I remember correctly. Yes. No. Wait. Indiana has 2 running backs. One's a receiver. Yeah, this is the receiver. No, it's not. This is the big. Yeah, this is the bigger guy. I mentioned earlier, the Patriots did not get a guy that can take a guy one-on-one and just run him over. Roman Hemby can do that. So, not going to give you much in the receiving game, but you have Travion Henderson. Ramondre's a really good receiving back, underrated. But, all right, let's just take I don't know, what do we take here? You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. That's not how you do that. No offense to this guy. No stats. All right. Give me Brett Thorson. You never heard of Brett Thorson, neither have I. The punter from Georgia. Take a shot. Take a shot. Why not? I don't love Bryce Behringer. PFF is grading my draft class. I'm going to guess they gave me a C or a C- because I went a little off the board. Didn't follow the big board to a T. We'll wait around until they grade it. So, yeah. They gave me no grade, apparently. Where's the grade at? How do I see the grade? Oh, grades are not available with custom big boards. Okay. Well, I'm fine with that. Let's look at the first round. Let's see how that went. David Bailey went 2nd overall. Just looking if anything. Reuben Bay went 6th to the Browns. Carnell Tate. We had 3 Ohio Staters go in a row. 7, 8, 9. Kai Lemon fell. Boston. Who went earlier than expected? Let's see when my guy, the tackle from Clemson, Blake Miller went. He went 35 to the Titans. So then Ian Anchor. I apologize if I'm saying that name wrong. Max Ian Anchor went to, who did he go to? 36. To the Raiders. All right. That'll do it for this solo show. I'm sorry if it kind of got a little, I don't know. I was tired at the end there, but we got through it. A 40-minute solo show almost. We'll be back with so much more draft coverage. We'll be doing way more mock drafts, talking mocks, closer to the draft. But thank you for tuning into this free agency podcast. Thank you for doing mock draft with me. And if you made it this far, then that is very impressive. So follow me, Instagram, Patriots3. Follow the podcast, Patriots Real Time. And, yeah, we'll be back with some draft coverage. So stay tuned for that.